Welcome back to On the Run. This is episode 3, and today we are on the run with Lynna Irby. You might know her from her high school accolades. She swept in all 3 sprints in the 100, the 200, and the 400. She has a world record in the 400 as a 15-year-old, I think I saw.
I think 12.
12? Oh, even better with the 54.57. And she's UGA's first outdoor NCAA champion in the 400 meters. She is number 2 all time with the time of 49.80, meet record at nationals. And then 30 minutes later, she ran a 200 with a 22.92, and she got third in that.
Mhm.
And you just recently opened with a 50.28. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Serenity. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Did I leave anything out?
I think that is probably the big ones.
Okay. I was like, do I just add in how, I've been racing against you for like 10 years?
I know.
In Junior Olympics? The old days.
I wondered if you remembered.
Lynna, of course I can remember. It was tough. Like when I was just making sure I got all of your accolades right, I was looking at some things. I'm like, dang, she swept all of that in high school. It must be nice. But Indiana, no, Indianapolis, is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
went
it was
against the
like
state though, so.
Right. So, firstly, I wanted to start with your UGA journey. You committed to the University of Georgia in 2018.
17. Wait.
17. Okay.
Maybe I committed in 16 because I graduated in 17.
Okay. But all of your accolades that happened were in 18.
Yes.
Okay. And how did you come to the decision to forego your last 2 years at UGA?
Yeah, so that's honestly a question I probably get the most because I went pro at such a odd time. It was April of 2019. And honestly, I decided not to go pro after my freshman year because I wasn't, how do you say, mature enough. I wasn't mentally or physically mature enough to make the decision to go pro. I was always very indecisive. And I had a lot of growing to do before I was able to make that decision. And once I did decide to go pro in April, I felt like, okay, I'm mature enough to handle like the professional life, the pro world. And so I made my decision to go.
Now, why did you decide to make that decision, in the middle of the year in April? Why not just wait until after NCs?
So I had actually taken a trip to Cancun with my mom, and being away from, I guess, the college environment really kind of put things into perspective for me. I was like able to, I guess, collect my thoughts a lot better, being in paradise of all places. So once I came back and I felt, I didn't feel pressured really. I felt at ease and at peace with the choices I was going to be making moving forward.
Right. Now, do you feel like you had unfinished business in college though? Like I know you said you went to Cancun, you finally felt, at peace, but did you accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish in college?
I really don't feel like it gets any better than a national title. My indoor season, we won as a team, and then by the time we got outdoor, I ran 49. I got a national title and then also placed top 3 in the 200. So I can't say that there was unfinished business there.
Definitely not. One of the only you went 49 as a freshman. So I definitely don't think that was like unfinished business. Any of the things you could do really. Okay, I understand that. So what do you think was the hardest part of your transition?
Geez, it was probably now all of a sudden it was traveling with the team, traveling with the pack, and even high school and youth, you always travel with the team. I mean, you know that. Like you're always with the team, and then transitioning probably to the pro life, it was very much, I wouldn't say on your own because I have a lot of training partners, but I didn't have a team constantly. Like I didn't have a roommate when I moved here. Usually, even when I was in high school, like my mom, my grandma, my family members, they always, traveled with me. And then I'm a big girl now. So I couldn't travel with them. Well, they didn't really travel with me. I guess like the first couple months I was pro, I had gone like to Canada, I had gone overseas in Amsterdam. And when we went over there as a camp, people still have their individual meets in different countries. So it was like, once again, you're kind of alone. So that was probably the biggest adjustment.
Yeah, I understand that too. A lot of the interviews I've done, it was always kind of like going from a routine being designed for you. They
Mm-hmm.
literally give you the formula to all of a sudden like, okay, go figure out the formula on your own.
Right.
So, how did you make the decision to leave Coach Petros at UGA, leave Coach AT, and transition to Lance?
So when I decided to go pro that early, it was obviously like kind of a shift. And I went, I signed with Adidas, right? And my agent told me, hey, Adidas would like you to train with Coach B and his group in Claremont. So obviously, I trained with Coach B in Claremont.
And do you like the switch? How has it been? How is it adjusting to, going from college to all of a sudden being with the big guys?
Right. No, when I first got here, it was like super intimidating because I train with, world champions, Olympic medalists, any accolade in the track world that you can name, I train with them. And they've been in this sport for some of them 10 plus years, even longer. Um, so it was intimidating. And then when I first got here, the pace was like extremely fast. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like I thought I was going fast at Georgia. I'm going fast now. But no, I mean, everyone definitely made it easy for me as far as like being kind, being patient, um, supporting me. But it definitely was an adjustment. Like, I don't think there's any easy way to say that it was an adjustment for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that could be really, really difficult, but you handled it with grace, honestly.
Thank
Not
you.
many people even knew that you left Georgia and, are now in Florida, Claremont, Florida, and is training with everyone you're training with because most people go through shifts when they change coaches, even when they change states.
Hmm.
But you basically thrived more. You said the pace was way faster, but then you went and in 2020, Monaco, you won with a 50.5. So it was like
Right.
your adjustment did not look like everybody else's.
Yeah, no, 2019 was definitely an odd year for me. The fact that I had left and I had to get readjusted. And I was honestly disappointed that I didn't make the Doha team, but I just used that disappointment as fuel for the next year. COVID happened, but that never really changed my mindset to want to do better. Whenever the world was ready to open back up, I knew that I wanted to be ready. So when borders did kind of open up for athletes to travel overseas, of course, I jumped at the opportunity. And not only did I want to go there and, compete at a Diamond League, I wanted to do well. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
I did see that you were so like Monaco was 2020. I'm surrounded
Yes.
around Adidas athletes too, Adidas pros first of all. Also, and I know what they were going through during COVID was like, "Oh gosh, like we don't have any meets to go to."
Right.
But our sponsor is expecting us to go to these meets. But 2020 is shutting down. We can't go overseas. We're scared that we're going to get trapped to come back. But you were like, "I'm going to go to Monaco. I'm going to go on the Continental tour." How were you able to stay focused and do those things and even travel during the COVID year?
Yeah, I mean, we never, well, I won't even say we, but myself and maybe my team, of, my age coach, my parents, we don't make moves unless there's a plan. Like me going pro, while it may seem spontaneous to others, it was not spontaneous. It was something that I had put a lot of thought into, and deciding to go overseas to Europe was no different. There was a plan put in place, and I followed it. Like, I don't really deviate much from my plan. Obviously, there's room for error, but if you set a plan in place, everything was fine, which it was for me. So, I'm grateful.
Interesting. Interesting. It's just the fact that you were able to stay on your plan, stay on the straight and narrow path, realize like, okay, everything is, going really, really bad right now in the world, but I still have to get
Hmm.
these things done because these are the goals that I made for myself. And who did you
Right.
use as your motivation during that time?
Um, Probably definitely my grandparents. They're like huge fanatics. Like my grandma knows all the track news before I even know it. She'll be like, "Did you see this heat?" And some like random track meet. I'm like, "Grandma, how do you know that?" Like, so getting out there to compete again, it was definitely like one of the motivating factors was my grandparents because I know how much they love track, and they were definitely in the at risk category for COVID. So they were in their houses like extremely bored, so it was just like if I get the chance to go out and compete, it'll give them something to look forward to. Um, so just one of many things
Wow,
that keep me motivated.
that's awesome. So you were basically competing for your family.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So you're very open about your mental health,
Hmm.
therapy, everything like that. So how important is mental health in the track community to you?
Um, well, I don't think I can speak for others, but for me, definitely like at Georgia, they offered therapists for us, especially sports psychologists, and a lot of people I don't say don't know this, but a lot of people may not realize how anxious I am, especially before the 400. Like my nerves go crazy. And my first time speaking to a sports psychologist was at Georgia, and it definitely helped like root myself and keep myself grounded and not let nerves get the best of me. And then even going forward into my professional career, picking back up with the therapist again, to not only like handle like my outside factors and my track life, because before they were two different worlds for me. I was like, I just keep them separated and that's it. And my therapist is like, well, what if they're all the same? And at first I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like I never conjoined the two, but they are aligned. So I think that track and therapy and sports is very, very beneficial. And I've been blessed to be in a situation where I can get a therapist. So,
Yeah, I've definitely when I interviewed Noah, that was one of the first things he said when I was asking him, like what are some of the important things that you do in terms of like taking care of your body. And the first thing he said was like, okay, therapy, mental health, because that's where you
mhm.
have to start so that, body, mind, and soul can be aligned. And I think that
Yeah.
that's where a lot of athletes like get it twisted, forget about the mental
Hmm.
health aspect because it's like all I need to do is
Right.
just take care of my body. But like your body can't function without your mind being in tune with it.
Right. No, one of the things my therapist says often is, I want to make your head lighter so you can run faster. And so far, I feel like that's been extremely true. Not only am I training better this year because I'm letting go of some of, the baggage or some of the trauma that I may have experienced when I was younger. Um, but I'm all around competing better too. And I feel like I'm a better person too. Like, everything is just aligning how it should. And I do say, a lot of credit to that would be therapy.
Okay, I like that. You said it was making your head lighter, or what was it again?
My head's lighter so my feet can move faster.
Oh, I love that. Making my head lighter so my feet can run faster. It's just like releasing all of the baggage that you have from like previous years, all the baggage
Mhm.
that, all the doubts that you have. And that's
Yep.
a great point. And I love that you mentioned that point, mainly because, you're still considered like a rookie into this pro world. And the fact that you're
Right.
like getting a jump start on it is just is fantastic, honestly. Because a lot of
Thank
people
you.
wait too late.
Right.
Okay, so just a shift. Um, can you name some of the people you train with? And then we're gonna get into that a little bit.
Whew, okay. I guess I'll start with the girls because there's not a lot of us. So me, Khalifa St. Fort, Shanae Miller-Weibo, Jasmine Sawyers, and my other training partner, she's going to laugh, Gina from Germany. Her last name is so hard to pronounce. It's Lukenkemper. So Gina Lukenkemper, but
Okay.
Gina from Germany. And then Jasmine Sawyers. And then there's another girl who just came in. Her name is Ashanti. Yep. And those are, oh yeah, and Kelly. Kelly Ann Baptiste. Yes.
Okay. And then some of the
Those
men,
are all the
like
girls.
Dream. Okay, those are all the women.
Yeah.
And then some of the men, Noah Lyles, Josephus, Dream, Jalen Bacon. Who else?
Kendall Williams. That was such a nice, like, familiar face when I had gone pro because, you know, he's from Georgia. There's so many guys. But those are the
Okay, no,
main
yeah,
ones that I
you're
hang
gonna.
out with. Main.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. So just to get a feel of your big group, because that's basically a whole track team right there. Almost bigger than you're just pushing bigger than UGA's now. Or their sprint group. So just to get a feel of them, if you were stuck on an island and you had
Okay.
your whole training group, who would survive?
You know what? I'm gonna do a guys versus girls thing, and I genuinely
Okay.
believe the girls would have survived way better than the boys.
Okay, and who's the first one who would like die off then for the boys?
um, I don't think they would all. I don't think there would be one that dies off because it is kind of a family feel. I don't think anyone would let anyone die. Um, I don't know, because everyone's so competitive that I don't think that anyone would die off. Like, I think they would be trying to outdo each other, like, oh, who can get the highest coconut out of a tree or something like that, or who can catch the most fish. Like, it would just be a competitive thing all around to just survive.
It's the fact that y'all would still be thinking about competition while trying to survive.
Yes.
But I'd be like, every man for themselves for me. Okay. So who are the parents of the group?
Um, I would probably say, maybe not parents, but the people who offer the most wisdom for sure would have to
Mm-hmm.
be Kelly, Shanae, and Jareem. They offer a lot of advice and wisdom when it comes to like track and like track practice and just meets and you know the whole bit.
Do you have any examples of like something that was just stuck with you that they said?
Probably the thing, and this is not even going to sound like super deep, but we were doing a workout and when we crossed the finish line, Shaunae's like, yeah, so Lena, I noticed that your arm's like moving to the side. And I'm like, she was looking at me while I was running, like while we were running. Like, it was like, huh.
I love it. I love it. She like really took you under her wing.
She did, and I'm so appreciative because she has like a lot of accolades, and she went to Georgia as well, and it just feels like at this point I'm just tracing in her footsteps, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely do know. Okay. So who in the group never knows pace? When y'all get on the line, I have a couple teammates where it's like coach says this time and they just hear something completely
Right.
different. Who in the group never knows
The
pace?
guys, yeah. So over fall training, one of the guys had told me that Jareem blows the pace out a lot, but they said that they also feel like because he's blowing the pace out, he wants to go with him and follow him. So now they're both battling over the pace. So it's really no telling who exactly is like throwing the pace off because it's like
Mhm.
you went faster, so now I'm going faster. And because I'm going faster, now you're going faster.
Right, right. I have those issues too. Like when we cross the line and like Coach Flo says the time, I'm looking at Kennedy like that was you, that wasn't me. You
And
went
they're
out, so
probably
I
looking
went
at
out.
you
Like,
like
and
you
that's
were
just what
on
it
my
is.
heels.
Yeah. So well, okay. And who on the women's side?
I think the girls are pretty good to pace. If Coach B tells me this is 12 pace, I'm going 12 pace, not a second faster.
Okay, good, 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 good. That's such an issue, especially for 400-meter runners. I'm like, we have
Mhm.
8 more reps. We have like 10 more reps. So you guys taking
Right.
it out in 11 is not gonna make us last for 10 more reps.
I think
Okay.
going with the group, it's easier to keep pace because when I'm by myself, I'm like, I don't want to blow the pace out of proportion. So when it comes to training with the group, I think it is a lot better to hold pace because it's like, okay, I know when the whistle goes off, I have to hit this cone. And if she's right here and I'm right here, then we're right on pace. But sometimes I'm like, okay, I got to get out a little harder because there's no one that's going to keep pace for me. So then, then I'm over pace. So
That's
that's probably
true.
the main difference.
Just like throwing my own experience. Corey Carter, who trains here, she is like the
Mhm.
timekeeper. Like she will tell
Okay.
Coach Flo when his time is off. And like if I don't have her, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what the pace
Right.
is. Sorry. I didn't have Corey telling me. Like she'll
Right.
literally say, like, while we're running, we're on. But
Aw,
okay, okay.
that's awesome though.
So it is, it is. That's why I need them. But worst workout Coach B has given you.
It was something that we did in fall training. We had a 500 and there was like not a lot of rest, and then we had 3 200s with I want to say maybe like a minute rest or something. But that was awful because if anybody knows me, they know I hate 500. So that was the first strike. And then after that, to follow up with very low rest and do 200s, I felt like my butt was going to fall off my hips.
I can relate to that. No, mine is like 600s. As soon as I hear 600s, I'm just like, my stomach is turning.
Yes.
Like, we run 400 meters. There's no need to go over that. There's no need. Okay. All right. Last question. Who
Mhm.
is the diva of the group? There's no
Mm.
need to be nice.
Ah,
It's okay.
the diva. I don't think I could say there's any divas because everyone is so positive. Like this is gonna sound like cap. Like like everyone's like, oh, we know there's
Hmm.
drama. There's literally no drama. Like everyone gets along so well. Um, I don't even think I could say diva. Um, I don't know. I think that's a fair. I don't think I would be able to like judge anyone saying diva.
Okay. So the Clearmat group is like when this gets posted, it's gonna be like the Clearmat group is perfect.
That's how it feels.
I understand. No, that's actually great. So, is there any advice you have for the collegiate athletes going into the rest of their season this year?
I mean, definitely, I guess one of the main advice that I would give is your body. If you don't feel, good or you feel maybe a little dinged up or something, don't be afraid to sit. Like, you rather do one less rep than one more and get hurt, you know? And that's one of the main things that's probably been like a key factor that's being beat into my head right now is if you don't feel good, say something because we rather do one less than one more. And that's something that I would have liked to have carried into college is if you're not feeling good, don't force it.
That's great advice. That is actually tremendous advice. I know you see a lot of athletes just, really wanting to score those points for the team, really wanting to push through something. And,
Mhm.
it's like that could be the one rep that just ends everything.
Right.
So you just have
Right.
to think smarter, not harder. It was great
Correct.
having you. It was
Thank
great having
you.
you on episode 3. You guys can catch these episodes on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, FloTracks, and mine. Thank you so much, Lynna.
Thank you.
Okay.